What is going on? I want to welcome you from F Court for today, Monday, August 29th. I'm your host, Sean Murphy, alongside my guy, Jeff Ifrady. And Jeff, we got to start this video with the fact that this is a different one because for the first time in front half court history, we're calling an audible. We're doing it. I just yelled Omaha right before we hit
Yep.
record. And I think it's going to be a pretty interesting one. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good, and I'm excited. Adding more tools for us at here at From Half Court to kind of analyze some things, and we couldn't help but make a video, Sean, because the more we actually did a deep dive and we looked at it. Um, you saw a lot of interesting things. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, 100%. So today we're, like I said, we're doing something a little bit differently. And today we're going to be specifically having a conversation about Killian Hayes, specifically where we think he needs to grow in his game, highlighting some of the areas that Killian is insanely gifted, but also do something for the first time that we've done on this channel here at From Half Court, and that is use analytics. And I know that's scary. I know that's terrifying. And I know we instantly sound 100% more pretentious when we say that we're using analytics. However, I want to use these as a tool not to just definitively make a statement about a player, but rather use the fact that numbers can tell a story and explain things about a player's game. Because I
Right.
think we all know what Killian's strengths and weaknesses are, right? But this puts a little bit into perspective and maybe tells a story about what Killian needs to do to get better at his game. So, with that, Jeff, I just kind of did a little bit of an analytic breakdown with you before the video about Killian's game. I
hmm
want you to give your honest reaction of your thoughts before and after, and I want your perspective on how analytics fit in the role of the game. First of all.
They've changed the game. Just we'll start there. They really
Mm-hmm.
have, it depends how you utilize analytics, especially looking at player profiles and looking at what players need to get, how they can get better, what things they need to work on. Analytics is a great tool to use, especially for a guy like Killian Hayes, where a lot of what he does, it's hard to really measure. Like you can see things, you can see the playmaking, you can see what he can do defensively. But also you can see the negatives it also as well. So I think looking at analytics for players like Killian to be able to break down, or even Cade Cunningham to see really how valuable he is to any basketball team he's playing for. That's why I do enjoy analytics, man. If they're used correctly, you can't live your life through analytics. But if you want to take into account analyzing certain players, it's a perfect tool. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm going to be writing a full article about this week, going a little bit more in detail into some of these specific categories and different things. But uh, what we are going to be using as far as like the tool to be going through this video today, we're going to be using a basketball index. Now, if you have not been a B-ball index subscriber, you can go to their website. It's $5 a month, and you get some of the best analytic tools in the game, the way that they break things down, their player profile tool. This is not sponsored by B-Ball Index. I just literally subscribed last week. So for me, I've been using it for the first time myself. So you can go through, and I specifically we're looking at the profile of Killian Hayes. You can go through and it gives a full breakdown of all of their different statistical categories. But Jeff, there are some specific things that we want to highlight about Killian Hayes' game. Now, we went through and we were looking at a lot of his different categories. Let's start with the good stuff. And I think it's what you and I both know about.
hmm
Killian's a really freaking good playmaker. The guy can pass. And
Beautiful.
according to analytics, he is assists points per 75 possessions. Killian's in the 88th percentile. Not only that, but he also in his in the quality of creation that he makes with his passes, pass creation quality, he's in the 84th percentile. So Killian is one of the better playmakers that we have
Right.
in the game of basketball. And he has the ball in his hands plenty of times to do it. He's in the 82nd percentile of touches per game. But Jeff, he also has the ball in his hands more than 82% of the league. And in addition, scores in the 30th percentile per possessions per 75, 18% below average. So the guy has the ball in his hands a lot and is not looking to score at all.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are, but like if you're having the ball in your hands that much and scoring that little, that's a red flag.
Yeah, no, and that's something we've talked about a lot. Obviously, you don't need analytics. If you watch Pistons games, you see Killian and his hesitancy to score. But again, it's us accepting who he is as a player. But certainly, you cannot deny he needs to be more aggressive. Whether it's a mindset thing, whether it's it's a confidence thing, you do. And we've said this on this show. I think this year, if you're talking about Killian Hayes, he should be shooting at least 10 times per game, close to, 8 to 10 times per game. You got to at least kick out volume because you look at his percentages, they're not that good, but that's because he'll take 4 shots. If you take 4 shots and you miss 3 of them, you're 1 for 3, and then you end the game like that. There you go. Like that. If you take 6 shots, you make 2 more, and now you're 3 for 6. It's different. So for Killian, he just got to be more aggressive because we know how talented of a playmaker he is. But the scoring is what I look at. And he doesn't have to be this 15, 17-point scorer. But to get in double digits like we project he will, certainly he has to be more aggressive considering how much the ball is in his hands. I think Jaden Ivey with this year, it might take out a Killian a little bit, but still, those guys are going to be able to play together. If you have 3 guard lineups, like Killian's going to have a significant role still. So to your point, Sean, he's got to be more aggressive.
Yeah, for sure. Not only that, though, but what the analytics will tell you is that not only does Killian need to get more aggressive, but he's got to get more intelligent with the looks that he's getting as a whole.
Efficient, probably
Yeah,
a
he's got to
better
get
word
more
to
efficient.
say.
But I mean, but Jeff, the quality of the shots that he's taking are among the lowest in the league. And specifically, when we're looking at what he's doing right now with his perimeter scoring, you look at where they have him rated, and you look at the grades that they have. Obviously, one thing that's going to stick out on anything is when you see a literal turd. However, that just means he doesn't get fouled at the 3-point line. That's really all that means. However, Jeff, it is important to look at some of these things, though. I mean, you look at his 3-point percentage is in the 25th percentile of the league. His pull-up 3-point percentage is among the 21st percentile. Like, just as far as every part of the court, his shooting this last year was among the worst in the league. But in addition, the shots that he's taking, he's not getting open. As a matter of fact, the rate of 3-point shots that he had where he was open was in the 19th percentile. Like, why are you shooting 20%? Like this low amount of your shots, 13% of your 3-point attempts are open?
Yeah, and that goes back to what we were saying earlier is like off ball. Like he has to get better moving without the basketball because he's a player that needs the ball in his hands. But
Mm-hmm.
for Killian to take that next step, you have to be even better without the ball in your hands, whether it's cutting to the basket, moving around, getting better looks. You see it right there. Just the 3-point percentage in general. Like no wonder it's going to be in the 29 percentile, whatever it is, because you're not getting great looks. That's the problem. And of course, playing with more talent might help him a lot more, but he's going
Right.
to be able to knock it down. I mean, that catch and shoot percentage wasn't good either. So that's where Killian needs to develop big time is off ball. No
Yeah,
doubt
for
about it,
sure.
man.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, one of the things that you can look at as well is like the Pistons had atrocious spacing last year, and even analytics will tell you they had
Right.
some of the worst spacing in the entire league. But in addition, though, like when you're looking at the quality of shots that you're taking, if you're not taking many, I'm hoping that your quality is going to be up there. So, that's just one of those things when you're looking at like can Killian become a better 3-point shooter right away? Take open shots. Don't take not open shots. Like that's a good starting point,
Yeah, get
right?
better looks. Yeah.
Yeah, get better looks. That's definitely part of it. So he's not generating better looks for himself. And let's kind of go into kind of like one of those next things that we need to talk about, and you kind of just alluded to it, is off-ball movement. We're not just saying that because one of the things about these player profiles and analytics, they break down what they're doing off the ball as well. And they show
Ooh.
specifically trends in what they're doing when they're off the ball. And specifically, one of the things that we're seeing is Killian is cutting to the basket 0.1 times per game. And when he does, he's not really shooting super high quality. And he's not really a moving to attack or doing anything creative when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. So, what does this show? In my opinion, it shows he's overly reliant of having the ball in his hands. When he doesn't have the ball in his hands, obviously we've seen a lot of the stagnant Killian of whether he'll stand in the corner, whether he'll stand on the wing. I understand that some of that might be the system that he's in. Some of that might be Dwayne Casey. Like that might be part of the play design, but like at a certain point, you got to take it like honest to yourself as like one of the main playmakers and drivers of this offense to like do some things yourself off the ball.
Right.
Like if you're being rated as like one of the lower cutters in the league, like that's one thing instantly. Like if you're looking to cut to the basket, like that's something that at the very least can generate you like 2 points a game. Just
Mhm.
one cut. So in my opinion, like that's just where I think when I'm looking at Killian Hayes' game, like those are like some of like the glaring things to me is that like when you're looking at what he's doing as far as, his quality of shot taking, which is not just at the perimeter either. He's taking bad quality shots at the rim too. The analytics will show you that. So across the board, Killian's quality of shots have got to get better. He's got to do more off the ball. And quite frankly, if he's going to have the ball in his hands that much, he has to score at least at league average or around the league average of scoring. You got to be on par of
Mhm.
of at least being formidable. And I think that's what we got to see with Killian. So, Jeff, do you think I'm being a little harsh with this? Do you think these stats are maybe like not telling the entire story, or what do you think is like the important thing to take away from this?
No, you're speaking facts. I think with Killian too, adding Jaden Ivey, that's the thing that I'm keyed in on this year is like, okay, Killian, we know he's a great playmaker. We know how good he is defensively. But the one thing we all have to continue to ask until we're proven otherwise is how he moves well without the ball. Can you be effective without the basketball? Because you're going to be in a lot of situations this year where you're maybe not the primary ball handler. You're certainly going to handle the ball, but you have Jaden Ivey now, which we don't know the ceiling. Jaden Ivey could be a much better playmaker than we even think. So there's a lot there. But yeah, certainly this is the role he's stepping into this year. Is like, yeah, he can be your sixth or seventh man, but also you're going to be playing him in possibly a lot of the time in three guard rotations. So that's what I'm looking for this year, Sean, is off ball and the efficiency numbers, obviously,
Mhm.
but playing off ball is so important for him, man, to take the next step, man, to really see a future with this team. If you could play off ball, you got a future.
Yeah,
You're good.
100%. And this isn't something that's like independent to Killian. It's not like this is something that only he struggles with. This is something that you see with a lot of young players in the
Right.
league is that they grow up and they're overly lenient on playing with the ball in their hands because a lot of these guys grow up and don't
With the
really
ball.
have to play without the ball in their hands because that's just what their role's been. I mean, PJ Tucker might be a corner 3-point specialist in the league. But are you telling me PJ Tucker wasn't probably averaging 50 in high school? Like the guy had his ball in his hands all of his life. You got to learn and grow and adapt. That's one of the things about playing in the highest level of basketball in the world. And we won't
Absolutely.
we won't delve into a whole lot of like the other analytics. What I'll tell you is if you look at his defensive analytics, the guy's phenomenal. He gets a lot of A's and A minuses on his perimeter defense report card because the guy is stellar. He's formidable in the interior as well. But that's something we knew about Killian. But it's great to
Mhm.
see in the perspective that no, he's actually like one of the better defenders in the league as far as being on the perimeter. So Killian definitely has that going for him. But the one last thing I'll touch on is rim shot quality. And this is what sticks out to me because one of the things that it shows is that Killian actually is in the 23rd percentile of attempts at the rim per 75 possessions. He takes 2.3 shots at the rim per game. All right. However, in his rim shot quality, he is in the 6th percentile. 6th. That means that 94% of the league is taking better shots at the rim than Killian Hayes, who is, by the way, taking less shots at the rim than 77% of the league. That's bad. And I don't care how you paint it. That's bad. So, like,
Yeah,
when you're looking at one of those things like Killian, like, he got better over the course of the season, learning how to use his body to create better shots, but, like, that's one area where, like, I get not taking great shots, but, like, 6th percentile in rim shot, like, that's, like, one of those things right there. Take better shots at the rim, man. Take
mhm.
better shots in the 3,
And
man.
he
Take
has
better
it.
looks.
We know he has a high basketball IQ too, so that's something
Mhm.
he has to learn. We know he can learn. Obviously, if you're that good of a playmaker and you're as good as he is defensively, he's got a high basketball IQ. But to your point, like you can't get away with tough shots, not in the NBA. Like you
Right.
gotta be more efficient. And I think Killian can get there eventually. You see him working in the offseason. We'll see what happens this season. It's a big, big year for him. No doubt about it.
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, he's an amazing playmaker. He's able to create shots for others on the court. But one thing you got to be able to do as a playmaker, you got to learn when to create shots for yourself as well. You got to know
Bingo.
when to put yourself in a position to score because that's best for the team as well. Like
Hmm.
I understand being a playmaker, wanting to set your guys up for success, and Killian does that at a great level. But at a certain point, if you're not taking good shots, you're putting the rest of the team in jeopardy, man. So that's one of the things I got to look at with Killian this upcoming season. Again, I'm gonna dive more into this on an article this week, so be sure you're checking that out on Woodward Sports as well. But also be sure that you're checking out Woodward Sports because our boy Jeff is back on the morning show this week. So be sure you're tuning in. Huge congratulations, my guy. Insanely proud of you as a friend, as a brother, as a cohort, as a co-pilot of this thing, man.
Yes,
Super
sir.
proud of you, brother.
No, I appreciate you, man. And listen, you guys, for everyone watching, I know if you love this content, I'm going to have Sean on. We're going to have him on the morning show every week. So if you want to tune in and see more Jeff and Sean on Woodward Sports, you can tune in there. It's going to be great.
Also, amen, baby. But also be sure you're tuning in from half court because we're gonna be having a whole lot of content coming
Bingo.
up. Also, Courthouse is back, baby. Wednesday night, I'll be live. Mother, come at me. But with that, we want to thank y'all so much for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time from half court. Sure to subscribe.